Now, I know on this show we often say that we are bringing you the stories the so-called mainstream press and woke political establishment don't want you to hear about or see. Well, have a look at this extraordinary footage that Fox News obtained from Del Rio, Texas, on the southern border of the United States, where thousands and thousands of illegal migrants, mostly Haitians trying to make their way into the United States via Mexico, have been streaming in every single day.
Stunning footage out of Del Rio, Texas on Thursday as our Fox flight team drone shows thousands of migrants crammed under the international bridge, waiting to be processed after crossing illegally into the United States. Our drone spotted masses of migrants crossing from Ciudad Acuña, Mexico, over a dam in the Rio Grande and into the United States illegally. They then stream into Del Rio via a dirt path, hundreds coming by the hour with more on the way every day.
Scenes like this have been repeated across the border for months now, pretty much ever since the Biden administration loosened Trump-era policies demanding that would-be migrants be processed in Mexico on that side of the border, and instead returned to the failed catch-and-release policies of the bad old days, where migrants are released into communities without so much as a COVID test and only on a promise of showing up to a hearing at some later date. Well, actions have consequences. In August, the U.S. Border Patrol recorded over 208,000 so-called encounters with would-be migrants. This was the second month in a row that figure was over 200,000 encounters. Keeping in mind for that every known, quote, encounter, there may be 2 or 3 more who slip in with no contact at all. And here's the kicker. That 208,000 figure represents an increase of 317% from the previous August when a certain bad orange man was in the Oval Office. Well, hope and change, right? Now, we all know how brutally dishonest the media was in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse. They tried to turn a young man who went to defend the town where his father and a number of other relatives were living into an interloper. They portrayed him as a racist and a white supremacist who shot African-American Black Lives Matter protesters, when in fact the people who he shot in self-defense were all white. They tried to portray Rittenhouse's gun as illegal, when it was not. They said he flashed white power signs with the Proud Boys. Again, not true. They said he wore surgical gloves to cover his fingerprints, when he had actually been giving first aid. They said he was there bent on violence when the act that got him into trouble with protesters was putting out a flaming dumpster that had been pushed towards and was rolling in the direction of a local gas station. And of course, they obsessively complained that he crossed state lines to attend the protest. They lied for one simple reason. For the left and their enablers in the media, Rittenhouse had to be guilty. Not just because he was a lower-class white male who had the actual skills to go and do something useful, namely fight a riot, while the MSNBC class was at home cowering and staring into their laptops, but because for Rittenhouse to be innocent meant that the rioting scum who he shot, including one of them a convicted pedophile, would be, by implication, guilty. Now, when your grift involves threatening peaceful citizens with civil unrest when things don't go your way, the courts saying that violent thugs burning down Main Street are not the mostly peaceful angels you claim means that everything falls apart rather fast.
Have a listen to this guy. He's a Donald Trump impersonator. He's hilarious. Have a look.
Well, here we are in the supermarket. We're standing here with the bare shelves. Look at it. There's absolutely nothing here. The shelves are bare. It's empty. It's empty like Sleepy Joe's brain when you think about it. There's absolutely nothing on the shelf. Look at it. Bare shelves all over the place. They say we're building back better, and yet we have nothing in the supermarkets. We're standing with the bare shelves. Bare shelves, Biden, okay? Empty shelves, Joe. It's a disgrace, believe me.
I think if Trump doesn't run, that guy should.
It's a serious problem. You know, the United States retail economy is utterly breaking down. There's hundreds and hundreds of ships at the port of Los Angeles and elsewhere that can't get unloaded. They are losing. There's just the whole supply chain system is breaking down. We're talking about this a little bit more later in the show. But meanwhile, Pete Buttigieg, the transport secretary, Mayor Pete from Indiana, has been off on paternity leave since August while this whole crisis eventuates. So I just don't know that anybody is running the show there in Washington now. Now, you may have noticed that there is a lot of anti-Biden sentiment out there these days. Recently, 4 anti-Biden songs made the iTunes Top 10 at the same time, most of them riffing on the new catchphrase, "Let's go Brandon," which is not only a middle finger to America's senile president, but also to the respectable media classes who have done their best to cover for him. This week it was reported that a pilot on a Southwest Airlines flight in America ended one of his announcements with that phrase, "Let's go Brandon." And guess what? Predictable hilarity ensued. Just by coincidence, a reporter from the Associated Press happened to be on the plane. And she reported that she nearly got thrown off when she tried to enter the cockpit over the incident. And the pile-on only went on from there. CNN analyst Asha Rangappa tweeted that saying, "Let's go Brandon," was the equivalent of the pilot saying, "Let's go ISIS." Progressive analyst Chris Hahn said, quote, "I don't like pilots who sympathize with terrorists." Radio host Dean Owadala said that the Southwest pilot was now part of the pro-January 6th terrorist attack airlines. And on and on and on they went. Really? What the hell is going on here? How is it that a lighthearted catchphrase, which started when a reporter tried to cover up for the fact that a crowd at a NASCAR event was shouting "F Joe Biden," and which has become now symbolic of the American people's distaste not just for the president who has given them a botched pullout from Afghanistan, an increased risk of terrorism, higher prices, and food shortages, but also a media which is trying to tell them that those problems don't exist, and that if you complain about them, even in a lighthearted way, you are no better than ISIS or a domestic terrorist.